Right, and thought I'd give you a quick update while I've got some stuff printing. Had a bit of a disaster last night with the printer, so I'm having to reprint some stuff. So basically, I'm just going to show you what I've been doing and the experiments I've been doing with sort of mould making with the 3D printing, with layups, and hopefully give you a better understanding of the direction I'm trying to head. Like I said in my posts, very little experience with composites and mould making, etc. So it's a lot of fun, learning loads, and I'm getting close to something that I want to use in the final design for the Hunter. So there she is, the Airfix kit or whatever it is. So we're getting close to me being able to finish the design. I just need to finish off deciding on how I'm going to, what materials I'm going to use to actually make the Hunter, and nothing's out of the question. So fiberglass, composites, expanded foam, I'm looking at everything really, so nothing's really rolled out. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, instead of looking at my ugly face, I'm just going to pan down onto the table and take you through a little bit of a journey, so you can see the sort of progression of tests and stuff I've been doing with the composite stuff. Okay, great. So this is my first sort of crack at actually moulding or casting a piece of the Hunter. They'll be to the same scale as I'll be building the final. So it's just a test mould that I've done, and I've unbolted it all. I'm going to split it later. I'll split at the end of the video for you. It has been split, but I'll show you what I've got inside, so you'll have to wait for that one. Right, so starting off about 10 months ago, when I first got the printer, one of the first things I've been really interested in is using it to do moulds. So basically I took quite a simple shape, like a nose cone, got some nice curves on it, and I designed it in SolidWorks and 3D printed it, so that's like my starting point. And this is printed 2mm, it's 2mm thick. I think it's got about two outer shells, and it's probably got about 10% infill, and that weighs in at 11.4 grams, so way too heavy to use on the RC stuff that are going to fly. Okay, after that, quite a while later, I started using a spiral print mode with Simplify 3D, and that allows you to print just one single layer, and so you don't need an infill. So basically what I did was, instead of just printing the outer shell, I actually printed it with some ribs in. So it's quite a technical sort of design to get to actually print a single layer and actually put these ribs in, just to strengthen it up. Now the actual thickness on this at that time is 0.6 millimeters. So it's actually, and it's a 0.4 millimeter nozzle I was using on my printer. So my printing ability's got a lot better since then. I can now print with a wall thickness of about 0.35 millimeters with a 0.4 millimeter nozzle. So it's with the same nozzle but a lot thinner. So thinner wall means less weight basically, and to some extent less strength. I've got some smaller nozzles, 0.35 and 0.25 I think nozzles, but apparently it's very hard, very difficult to print with those, and I haven't actually tried them, but I will do at some point. So and this weighs in at 4.5 grams, and like I say, it's 1mm thick, and it's got those ribs. It's just an idea I had for doing like a single wall print with ribs in. So on the outside you got this, like I suppose like a panel line sort of effect, and then like an internal rib. So you know, it's very flexible, pretty strong, Still pretty pretty light, 4.5 grams, not too bad. So after that, then I decided, well, what I want to do is I'll make the mould. So I traditionally use this as a plug, and you make your mould around this. So I sort of skipped that process with 3D printing, and I printed quite a crude mould just for half of the cone. And then with that, I then did my first layups with just fiberglass, and just to get an idea of the strength and sort of weight. So I mean, this one is 2.3 grams, and it's 1.5 millimeter. So I got one lay at one cloth at 25 grams, then two at 48 grams, and then one at 25 grams. I think it's called layup. I'm sure Thomas, you'll correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so, or Bob, or whoever else is watching there, has got experience with this stuff. So yeah, so I sort of tried it in the negative, and I also did a positive version of that to try it. And these go together. I was thinking, you know, just squash it all down, like a sort of vacuum bag sort of effort. So yeah, that worked out okay. Got over my reservations and nerves with using fiberglass and composites. You know, I'd always thought it was really mega difficult, but it wasn't too bad really. So I learned a lot from those simple bits. And then next came the idea of, why don't I say, well, this is what I'm looking for. It's 3mm thick, and it's got 5% infill, and that's this plastic. Yeah, so I thought, well, let's try and make that using castings, and I had an idea for using the expanding foam for a very long time, and I saw that Brett had used it with his with one of his projects. I don't really know how successful that was. He used it for, I think it was his wings. He did like I don't know whether it was a balsa shell on his wings, and then filled it with foam. I'll put a link in the bottom of the video. But anyway, so as either an Australian guy or a New Zealand guy who did it with a glider wings as well, doing experiments with it as well. So it looked really exciting. I thought, you know, again, take away the plug making part of the process, and just go to the making the moulds. So I printed that just as a, like, this is what I'm after sort of thing, and then I made the moulds, designed the moulds in SolidWorks, and this is what I ended up with. So basically something like that. So it's so it's got a core in it, as it were. Okay, so and obviously that's basically what I'm going to end up with. So yeah. Okay, so I then started playing with foam. So the first type of foam I got was a cheap foam from I don't know, I think it was like a pond or a pond supplier, does like fiberglass stuff for ponds and stuff. And he had this stuff called up foam, and I laid it up in the mould, and it came out great. It came out really, really well, but within a day it shrunk to absolutely nothing. An awful texture on it, and I think that's 1.1 grams, but obviously you can't use that. That's no good. So I had another couple of attempts with that, and I thought, no, I need to find something else. After some research, the company in Dudley, I think it's a national brand, I found stuff called by Smooth On, and it's their Foamit series, and I got the Foamit 3, which comes in at 48 kgs per metre squared, or 3 pounds per foot squared, and Foamit 8, which is a lot more rigid and white. It's like an off-white colour when it's cured, and that weighs in at 8 pounds square foot, a cubic foot, and 130 kgs per meter cubed. So went straight in with the light stuff. So the foam at 3, and have a look here. Okay, I did a straight. Okay, so straight in, I did this one here. Now that's just a straight casting with the foam at 3. So basically, I had my mould together like that. If you imagine. With experience, I had no registration for my mould, so it was a bit of a pain. So I mean, later moulds I've changed that with experience. But yeah, so basically that's what I had. And then what I did was I mixed up the foam, poured it in there. Obviously, I think it expands probably more than 8 times the foam at 3. I mean, it really expands. You'd be surprised how little you need for it to fill the void. So so I poured it in there, and what I found was you need to, if you can coat the whole surface quickly with it, it really helps things. And then I bunged it together, I clamped it up, and then I actually ran insulation tape, red insulation tape, around it to seal the seams. And I can't remember what I did. I think I had a piece of cardboard on the top here with some holes drilled in it, just like 1mm holes drilled in it, just so it would vent as the pressure rose. And yeah, that sort of formed the basis for casting in the foam. That sort of idea. So obviously it all expanded, and then it sort of, any overpressure, as it were, actually came to the little 1mm holes, sort of vented it. So I mean, and that worked out really good. And the release agent I was using for that was this mould release agent, Easy Release, 2831. What I found is this foam, this polyurethane foam, is mega sticky. I mean, it really sticks to everything. So you know, as far as bonding stuff, it's brilliant. It really sticks to stuff. So this stuff here is a real, it's like a watered down wax, but it's really waxy. And I think on the early parts I was doing, I was actually putting on too much, and I was losing some of the detail. And these weren't particularly printed well, finished well. I'm sort of finishing these a lot better now. The ABS, I can finish a lot nicer now. But yeah, it released fine. There's no real dramas. But as you can see with it, it shrinks. So this is foam at 3. This piece weighs in at 1.1 grams, so it's light enough. But again, you've got this like horrible surface area if you don't get the pressures inside. They're absolutely spot on, and it's quite soft, but you know, plenty light enough. And it's shrunk. So if you have a look at the mould there, the original mould, you can see how much it's. You know, obviously I can push it on, but you can see the shrinkage sort of problem with it. So to counter that, now I thought, well, what I'll do is on the female part of the mould, I'll actually lay in a 25mm piece of fiberglass. So, and I used the West system, which is at West 105 system for the resin. So obviously just putting as little resin as I needed to actually wet out the fiberglass, let that cure, trim it down, okay, and then mix up the foam again, squeeze it all, and away we go. And yeah, it got some really nice results with that. So that sort of started the process going as far as putting the skins in. So this one here is 2.4 grams. It's the foam at 3. So look here. It's got a skin inside and out, and both are 2 times 25 grams. So with this one here, I've put a skin on this part of the mould, 2 skins on here, 2 layups or whatever of the 25 gram fiberglass, and then I put 2 on here, and then I cleaned it all up, put the 2 together, and then poured the foam, and got something really strong, really nice surface on it. But again, this is shrunk. It's actually pulled in quite a lot. can see there over time. So like I said, these were done about 8 months ago, so they've had plenty of time to do what they need to do with the weather and the humidity and whatnot. So you can see that's actually shrunk quite a lot. So that's no good really. So next we tried the so that one was 2.4 grams. So it's the skin inside out. So that's 2.4 grams. So we have 2 of those halves, be 4.8 grams, and this is 4.5 grams for the whole assembly, as it were. So this is the lightest printed version I could get. So you can see the difference in strength, you know, already, you know, by putting just the skins on. So next was to try the foam at 8. So this stuff is, so this is the foam at 8 here. Love this stuff, it's brilliant. And this is just a sample of it that I used this morning. You get a really dense foam, you know, really small bubbles on it, but it's very brittle. Yeah, as you can see, it breaks really easily. Yeah, it's like, you know, it falls apart really easy. So very stiff, very rigid, but not very strong. So yeah, so again, same idea. This is the first one I cast. So I'm trying to find a foam that's so stable and won't shrink. So this is the first one I cast. You can see how nice it stayed. That's 8 months ago. And that's got no skins or no fiberglass on it. So we have a look at that on the mould. You can see how that's remained exactly as it was 8 months ago. So again, that's, like I said, that's 2.35 grams. So it's slightly heavier, the foam at 8, but much stiffer. But obviously it's very stiff, but if I squeeze on that, it's going to break really easily. So to strengthen that up, I thought I'll just use the fiberglass method again. So put fiberglass, experiment with different layups of the fiberglass on the moulds before I pour before I cast the foam it. And this is, I don't know why it's gone brown like this. I think it's because of the ease release. You know, I said I put loads of the stuff on. So this one here has got a single shell on the outside. I mean, it's really strong, and nothing on the inside. So you've got two on the outside, 225 gram skins on the outside. So I've laid those sort of bi-directional. They lay up really easily, and then nothing on the inside. So what I'm also after is I want something that's going to not look like a foamy. I don't want any more foamy, so I want something that I can finish and paint up nicely. And this really is very strong. Again, do the squidge test compared to the plastic one. You know, it's very strong. And that came in at, I can't see the writing on it. Let's check on the scales. So that came in at 2.7 grams, so 5.4 grams for the complete nozzle as well. Oops. Like I say, it's super strong. Okay, so so then I thought, well, you know, I don't need this sort of thickness. I think it's about 3 mil thick, 4 mil thick. I think I should do it 4 mil thick on the. Yeah, 3 mil, 3.5 mil. So that's sort of wall thickness, as it were, on the casting is about 3.5, 4 mil. So I thought, well, I don't actually need that thickness all through the part. You know, what I want to do is put a ribbon there. So what I thought I'd do, so I reprinted the male part of the mould. Yeah, and what I did then was I first made it to be thinner. Yeah, and then I put a ribbon, so I printed a space or a hollow for the rib to form when it foams up, and that I really felt I was really starting to get somewhere now. You'll have to excuse the colour on this. Again, that's foam release stuff I haven't cleaned off. So this is the first one I did. I'm really excited about this. So this came in at 2.1 grams, and it's got a 25 gram outer skin. That's the fiberglass skin, and you can see the rib formed, and they're really nice. And also, I don't know whether you can actually see it on this one, but it's not the same. It's 2 mil. The wall's about 2 mil, 1.5 2 mil thickness, and stayed really constant through the casting. And then at the top here, I've put a rib as well in, like a rib structure. I was just thinking when I bond these together, that'll form a really strong sort of spine down the model. So that's worked really well, but it wasn't as strong as the previous one, so it wasn't as strong as this one. Yeah. So this is like 3.5 mil throughout, and that came in at, oh god, I can't see the writing on there, but it's heavier than this one anyway. And then this one's lighter. You can actually see all the way through it. I don't know whether you can see the way through it. If you hold it in the light, you can actually see through it. It's like transparent almost. So what I then did was, well, why don't I put a 25 gram on the outside, and then just put a 25 gram on the rib area, just that area there of the rib, on the male part of the mould. So I just lay a strip in there, basically of 25 mil fiberglass, and then on this part here, obviously I put a full layer of fiberglass in there, 25 gram fiberglass, and then I show you. Then I cast it. Obviously, I've learned from my previous mistakes with regards to registration. So this part of the mould's got a top on it now. So I sealed it, and then I've got like 2 little holes here, just to vent, just so it'll vent. So you want pressure, but you don't want too much pressure. You don't want to keep it all in there. You want sort of excess to come out. It's like a bit of a juggling act you got to do with it, because obviously you want to keep the weight down, but you also want to fill all the void. And then this is the part that I got out of it, and this came out really well. Really pleased with this. Let me just work it out. Again, this was made 8 months ago, so it's got a and this weighs in at 2.2 grams, but it is super strong. Yeah. So this one's this one's 3 mil, all the way 3.5 mil all the way through, and this one is probably about 2 mil with the ribs and stuff in there. And you can see they're about the same. This is the one where I didn't put the fiberglass 25 gram fiberglass in this area on the inside, and you can see the difference in it. It really is. You can hear that one starting to go actually. Really made such a difference. So again, it's, you know, it's pretty transparent. You know, it's very thin. I think I can actually get the thickness of the foam down a little bit more, probably 1.5 mil. You can see on there as well, I've tried to show just a bit of thickness on there for the spine, and then I think so just coloured a little bit where the fiberglass is on there. You can't really feel it really. So it's a lovely finish on there. It's not going to look like a foamy. And the only sort of bad parts are just where the ABS was printed at quite a coarse setting. So I'll be able to get that glassy smooth with the other ones. So that's where I was about 8 months ago, and then I dropped back onto the design side of things and the testing of motors and stuff. So once I'd done that, over the weekend I thought I'd have a break from the motor testing and messing around with that stuff. So yesterday I printed out the tail fin of the Hunter at the sort of scale size of the tail fin for the Hunter, the vertical stab. I just wanted something that's going to be thinner to try the same sort of techniques on, and obviously 8 months ago I wasn't all that proficient at with the 3D printing side of things, so I'm a lot better at it. The printer has been modified a lot more as well, so I'm getting a lot tidier prints out. So using exactly the same principles, this time printed the mould, so in a sense skipped the plug making side and just printed the mould. So this is the outside of the mould, and then if we look inside, you can see how pretty that is. Okay, so okay, so this isn't cast. Okay, I'm just winding you guys up. Okay, I wish it was cast. Okay, so with this, I had an idea yesterday when I was before I printed the moulds, was that, well, why don't I print just an ABS skin as thin as I can, yeah. And then so that's just ABS, standard ABS, printed as thin as I can, which is about, like I say, 0.35 millimeters thickness. Okay, and then cast the foam into it, because it probably was strong enough. I should have actually shot some video before I filled it this morning, but you probably use it as it was, strength wise, but then obviously I filled it up with foam, yeah, and as you can see, it's turned out really nice. You know, I also want to see how I would pick up things like panels if I were to model it in SolidWorks and stuff, the sort of sharp edges and stuff. So like I say, this has got a 0.35 millimeter ABS skin as it were on it, and it's the foam at 8 on the inside. Weight wise, I think it's too heavy to use on a plane. The ABS is just too heavy, the skin's too heavy. Although when I printed this yesterday, I did rush the settings a bit, and it's sort of over extruded on the printing, so a lot more plastic went down that one was necessary. So actually the quality of the print wasn't all that good. And I've had to sand this morning. I spent probably about 3/4 of an hour just sanding this nice and smooth once the foam had cured in there. It's really nice to work with the ABS. I love working with the ABS. PLA, yeah, it's a real pain in the arse to work with, but ABS is brilliant. It sounds really nice. You can scrape it, you can sand it, you know, you can polish it up. It's a really good material to work with from a plastic point of view. I know a lot of people don't like ABS, but once you can print with it, it's great. So from weight point of view, okay, so the skin, just the skin by itself, was 4.35 grams. So just the ABS skin without the foam in it was 4.35 grams. Then I poured it with the foam, filled it with foam, and that came out at 7.2 grams with the foam. This foam is actually quite heavy. It is pretty heavy. Then after sanding, so after I sanded it down, I lost a gram just in sanding it. So technically speaking, if you think about it, you could actually sand most of the ABS off this, yeah, because that foam bonds like hell. It's really sticky stuff, and it'll bond really well to the ABS. So technically speaking, you could sand most of that ABS off if you wanted, if you're that way inclined. I just love the edges and stuff on this. It's just come out so nice once you sand it. It's just really nice. Even if you're just doing this for your plugs, making your plugs like this would be a really good technique, or something that wasn't weight dependent, like, I don't know, RC cars, or I don't know, anything. I suppose on the bigger jets you could probably use it, you know, I don't know, doors and hatches and stuff. But anyway, so the actual foam content in that is 2.5 grams of foam in there. So so we got the skin is 4.35, well, less than that now, and the foam is 2.5 grams. So say the skin is 4 grams and the foam is 2.5 grams. So I think that's too heavy for the size model. So I'll be playing around with the fiberglass layups. I've got some carbon fibre toes I'm going to play with. Perhaps cast part of this hollow with just like the foam up the leading edge, maybe down the trailing edge for the hinge. Like I say, it's just a case of printing another part in here. So I'd obviously lay my fiberglass, my 2.5 gram fiberglass, or whatever, in whatever areas I want. You don't have to necessarily lay it over the whole thing. I could just put on the leading edge and perhaps on where the hinges are going to go, and then I'd pour my foam, but then I'd have another part which will act as that sort of part to hollow it out. So I pour it, hollow it out, and do the same with the other side. So when I put the two together, there'd be a hollow section in there to save weight. I'm not sure I'll need to do that, but anyway, it's just an idea. Okay, so the other thing I've been doing from the 3D printing side of things, I've been printing with ABS and HIPS. Now, there's a plastic called HIPS that dissolves in orange turpentine. There's also another name with it, but I can't really pronounce it, so I'm just going to call it orange turpentine. It's used for sort of industrial cleaning and stuff. It smells really nice. It's an organic product, and what that will do is actually dissolve the HIPS plastic. So if you imagine that, yeah, if that was printed in hips, and I went and put that in the orange turpentine, right, that's going to dissolve away to nothing, leave nothing. So going back to what loads of people have done before with like lost foam, if you see where I'm going with this lost foam ways of making fuselages and stuff, where you build it out of foam and you fiberglass over that, and then you melt the foam away with acetone. I thought about doing the same thing by printing this one here. It's another one I print. So this is in hips, yeah. I'm not worried about how the outside looks, it's really rough. I'm really worried about what the inside is. So this is hips. So if I put this in the orange turpentine now, I'll just melt that all away, just dissolve it all. So what I've done now, okay, is I've filled it with foam. Okay, so I've put the foam at 8 in there, okay. And what I'm going to do is I'll stick that in hips now. I've just done a check this morning with some hips, and hopefully it's not dissolving the foam at 8. Just pull it up. This morning I bunged a piece of foam at 8 in here, and as you can see, it's not dissolved. So it's brilliant. So that's what I want. I don't want that to dissolve, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to sling this in, yeah, with the foam core in, and what the orange turpentine is going to do, with any luck, is just dissolve all the plastic away and leave me with the foam. Okay, so technically speaking, I haven't actually got a mould anymore. I don't need to actually mould that anymore. I don't think it'll actually work in this application, but it's something I can use on other things, or other people could perhaps use. So you print it in hips, pour your foam in, let it expand up so it fills up the void inside there. You sling that, it's like sling that in the orange turpentine, dissolves away the plastic and leaves you just with your foam. So that'll be about 2 grams, 2.5 grams of just foam. So it's like the reverse almost of the sort of lost foam method of doing it. So that's pretty exciting, so I'm quite excited about that. But that also means that for things like with fuselage, and I want to put ribs in, but I don't want to worry about draft angles and getting things in and out, what I could do is actually cast this part of the mould in the hips. Yeah. So the outside of the mould will be an ABS, the inside of the mould will be like a throwaway or use once hips part, and then after I've pulled the foam and the fiberglass layup out of the mould, I'll be left with the hips on the inside, and then I'll just dissolve away the hips on the inside to lose that weight. So there's a lot of things triggering off all this, and hopefully some of you guys might find it useful. Anyway, I've been meaning to do this for ages, to let you know how I'm thinking with the composites. Hopefully that's giving you a better idea of what I'm hoping to achieve with this all. Okay, great. Cheers for watching.